Hi, everyone. Welcome to our stretching webinar. I'm going to give it a couple minutes to let people trickle in. So go ahead and get settled, get in a comfortable spot, maybe grab some water, and I'm excited to get started with you. Making sure everything is good here. All right. Welcome. Go ahead and put in the chat where you're coming from today. It could be a city. I'm here in Los Angeles, or you could be at the airport, at the grocery store, driving. Hopefully you're not driving, but maybe you're in the car. And then let me know in the chat. You can also send it in the Q&A. I'm going to make sure the chat is enabled here. Yep, it is. So the chat is open. Happy Thursday, everyone. I hope that you are not feeling very tense. But if you are, this is the perfect place to be because we're going to get some breathing. We're going to get some stretches and a great start to the end of the week. Hi, Terry. Welcome. Thanks for saying hi. Okay, awesome. You see, we have a lot of people coming in here today, so I don't want to rush in, but I will say find a comfortable spot. I'm going to be seated during most of this webinar because the big thing is I want these to be stretches you could do everywhere. And a lot of times we're sitting. We're sitting in the car, we're sitting at our desks, we're sitting while we travel, but most of these stretches can also be done standing. So again, they're here to be a toolkit for you, whatever you need. Yeah, so just let me know where you're at. Another thing is, I'm not going to be able to see you today, so take this chat as your private personal space to ask questions. You can also put them in the Q&A. Any questions you have, any modifications, I'm here for you, and we're just about to get going. Okay, so who am I? My name is Rachel. I'm the health coach here at Flowly. And then, oh, I'm seeing someone else getting in here. Let me just fix this video really quickly. Thanks for bearing with me, you guys. Okay, awesome. So like I said, I'm Rachel. I am a certified integrative nutrition health coach, and I also have a background as a professional dancer. I got my bachelor in fine arts in musical theater performance and actually moved out to the West Coast from the Midwest to perform professionally. So movement, and especially functional movement, is very, very near and dear to my heart. And I'm excited to share that with you today. So why are we here? We are stretching for relief. I think a lot of times we think about our bodies in terms of negative feelings. I don't know if you can relate to that. Let me know in the chat. But a lot of times we are most consciously aware of what hurts, what doesn't feel good. And today we're going to be putting a lot of conscious awareness around what does feel good and how to bring relief into our bodies. Functional movement is really, really important. So again, we're not stretching for anything crazy here today. Let me know if you have a stretch routine, if this is something that you do. We're not doing the splits. We're not doing cartwheels. We're not doing anything crazy. We're doing a series of gentle stretches. I'm going to go over 7 stretches that you can do. We're going to do them slowly at first, and then I'm going to show you how to do them in a quick series. You can do anytime. Another disclaimer, this is a gentle series. That being said, we always recommend consulting with a physician before starting a new movement routine, because at Flowly, we know everyone's body is different. What is good for one person, what feels really good and is beneficial, might not feel good or be beneficial for someone else. So for today, I'm really asking you to put a lot of conscious awareness around yourself. What feels good? If it hurts, stop. This is not no pain, no gain. This is all about what works well for you. So again, consult a physician before starting a new routine and keep it gentle and compassionate with yourself today. Okay, so If you've been to a Flowly workshop before, you are not going to be surprised to know that we are going to breathe for a moment together. Let me know if you've been to a workshop with us before in the chat, which one you were at. So I want you to just become aware of your breathing right now. I'm breathing a little shallowly because I'm excited to be here and I'm talking. So as I kind of think about, okay, how am I breathing? Okay, I'm breathing through my nose. I was breathing a lot in my chest, so I'm going to put a little awareness to breathing a little bit lower in my belly. Let me know if you can feel it in your belly. It can always be nice just to put a hand here. We're not doing any even breathing techniques right now. We're just becoming aware of our breathing. How's that feeling? If you can, go ahead and just put one word in the chat of how you're feeling right now, because we'll do this again at the end. Okay, we've got somebody feeling good, somebody feeling a little erratic. I can relate to that. Sometimes I start my mornings nice and slow. I'm like, wow. And sometimes I do not. So if you're feeling good, maybe you're feeling a little erratic, okay, maybe a little anxious, maybe a little tense. That awareness is really important because it just is. And slowly we do biofeedback, and biofeedback is about meeting yourself where you are. So where are you today? Someone's feeling a little scattered but good. I think we might all be somewhat in the same boat today. So while we're just being aware of our breathing, we are breathing through our nose, at least for the inhale, and then breathing out through our nose or mouth for the exhale. We're going to do a quick body scan, which is just bringing awareness to our body, because while I'm going to go over a series of 7 stretches that are pretty comprehensive, there are literally thousands of stretches we could do. So today it's just what feels good for your body, where are you at? So while you're breathing in and breathing out, we're going to bring awareness to the top of our head. Today we're going to start at the top. Do we feel any tension in our forehead or in our temples? Maybe we feel good. Maybe we feel like we have a lot of space in our sinus area. Maybe it feels congested. Bringing our awareness down to our jaw. I tend to hold a lot of tension in my jaw. And just scanning. How is our neck feeling? We're going to spend some time there today. How are our shoulders feeling? Just be aware as you bring your awareness from the top to the bottom, just if anything is asking for your attention. We keep breathing, noticing our chest and our heart area. Does it feel constricted? Maybe it feels open. Breathing down through our arms, all the way through our fingertips. Breathing down through our torso and our hips. Our hips hold a lot for us. Thank you, hips. Breathing down our legs. I'm sitting cross-legged right now. Maybe you're sitting with your feet solidly on the floor. Maybe you're laying down. I love laying down. Breathing all the way down your knees. Maybe your knees want some attention. Down our calves and our shins. Still breathing. All the way down through our ankles and our feet. So we're going to take just a couple breaths to be where we are today. There is nowhere else we need to be for the next couple minutes. You are here. You are doing perfectly. You can let me know in the chat if any area specifically was calling for your attention. That way I can keep it in mind as we're doing our series. And then also if it's not an area that we're covering today, I can maybe give you some tips or some stretches that you could incorporate on your own. So go ahead and put in the chat one area that was asking for your attention. For me, I think it's probably my shoulders. I don't know if we have anyone else in the tight shoulder gang here. But that's a consistent area for me that needs love. Someone is saying my lower backs, love some TLC and some love. So we've got that today. Let's see. So for some people, it could even be wrists. It could be jaw. This awareness to your body is showing so much love to yourself. Even if we stopped the workshop here, which we won't, even if we stopped it here, this would be a really loving practice. This is something that you can do for yourself at any time. This is a literal anywhere practice. All you have to do is be able to breathe, check, and to bring a little conscious awareness to yourself. This is a beautiful practice of self-love, which again, only allows us to show up better in the world and for the people that we love. So I love doing this with you here today. Okay. It is time to get started. I'm very, very excited. Okay, so like I said, we have 7 exercises. I'm going to go through them slowly. Please ask questions in the chat or the Q&A if I'm not being clear, if you cannot see me, if there's any questions that you have. Then once we go through all 7, we'll do them quickly together, because as a dancer and just as a person, I love having a series of movements that I feel very confident that I can just go through. Makes me feel awesome. So our first area that we're going to start with today, we're actually going to do a top-down series, is our neck. Let me know how your neck is feeling. You could do one word, you could do a sentence, or if you also have any injuries around your neck, any modifications that you might need, let me know. So 1 word, how's your neck feeling? 2, do you have any modifications you might need to do around your neck? Let me know. Okay, someone is saying their neck feels tight. Perfect, you're in the perfect place for this. So we're gonna start now. While we do this, breathe. That is our number 1 thing. Breathe. If you keep breathing, amazing. If you're sitting, I recommend sitting at a 90-degree angle, so your hips are even with your knees, or even slightly elevated so that your hips are slightly above your knees. That's going to be the best posture for you there. Okay. If you're standing, great. Let me know if you're standing, laying down, need to do something different. I'm going to stay seated for the moment. Okay, you may have done this before, but we're going to do a neck extension, looking up, and a neck flexion, looking down. This is not reinventing the wheel, but I do not do this every day. I would love to remember to do this every day. So hopefully this series will help me and you to show up for our bodies. So breathing in, we're just going to look up. This is the beginning of you listening to your own body. How far up feels good for you? Do you feel it here? And then bring it back down. So I like to breathe in, looking up, and breathe out, looking down. Now, if it feels really, really good to be looking up, you're like, yes, this is exactly what I've needed to stretch, add an extra breath. So you breathe in and you hold, breathe out, breathe in, and look down. Excuse me, look forward. And now we're going to look down. Ready? I love the exhale on this neck flexion down. This is the one that feels really good for me, where, you know, I would really spend some time breathing in and just breathing here. One thing to keep in mind is to potentially keep your shoulders slightly rolled back, because if your neck is tight, you might find that your shoulders are hunching forward to compensate for that tightness. You can go further, but we don't need to go further. We're not trying to meet any specific range of motion. We're just trying to meet our body where it is. So we keep our posture nice and just up. Our shoulders are back and down. We look down. So that's it. That's the beginning of our, to be fair, this neck, we're going to do a couple different directions and I'm counting it as one stretch. So we looked up and we looked down. We're going to look to the side, breathing in and back to the center, to the side and to the center. How's this feeling? If your neck is stretching, but your hands are free, put in the chat how that feels, if you feel like it's getting where you want it to get. And the very last part of the neck stretch is we're going to do a diagonal flexion. So it's like an ear to shoulder. This one can feel really, really good, especially if you are sitting in a chair. What you can do when you are about to do the diagonal is you can put your hand, your opposite hand, on your chair, and that's going to add a little bit of resistance right here because I'm holding, I wonder if you can see, I'm holding my chair here. And that allows me to keep this very much in line. And I really, really feel it here, but it feels nice. It doesn't hurt. It feels very gentle because I'm controlling the amount and I'm also breathing. Okay, we're going to go to the other side. If you're not sitting in a chair, you can also hold something slightly heavier in this hand. It could literally be a water bottle, anything to just give you a little bit of weight here to help focus the stretch right there. Someone is saying tight when turning to the left. That's really, really common, that each side of your body is going to feel different. Everyone's body is different, but we all compensate differently. So I love that you're paying attention to, okay, maybe this side feels really good, almost like so easy. And then you might feel it more on another side. So if you're feeling it more on one side, you can take an extra breath there. So this was our first stretch, basically neck in many directions. The only one going back is looking up. If you've ever done a neck roll, I don't always love to do that because sometimes going back is not the best for your neck. So I really like this controlled up, down, side to side, and then ear to shoulder. Perfect. First stretch down, and that's our longest one. So we'll be breezing through it from here. Our second one here is our chin retraction. This is one of my favorites and one of my least favorites to show because it's essentially a double chin exercise. So very good for humility. Just kidding, for me. But what I love about it is I actually pulled up a study about this because we often keep our head forward so that our ears are no longer in the midline of our body. This is tech neck. This is looking at our phones where our head comes forward, right? Now, when that happens, I'm going to read this because I want it to be right. The effective weight of your head on your spine increases from 10 to 12 pounds, which is about what it is when your ears are over your midline, to 49 pounds when your neck is hunched forward. So when our head is forward, we're putting so much more weight on our body, on our cervical spine, on all of that. So this chin retraction exercise is really good for resetting us to have a much lighter posture. Have you ever heard that before? Let me know in the chat. I think you may have heard of tech neck or forward head, but let me know if you've heard that fact before. So chin retraction, I'm going to turn to the side. Very, very simple. This one you can truly do anywhere. So what you're going to do is we have a neutral posture, and then we're going to push our chin back, just like you're doing a nice double chin. It can be really helpful to do 2 fingers to your chin and then push it back. You might feel it here in the back of your spine because what's happening is you're resetting those muscles. And you only need to do that like 5 or 10 times. So very, very simple chin retraction. Think of your head being 50 pounds, so heavy, to 10 pounds. What a gift to yourself. Okay, so we've done our neck stretch and we've done our chin retractions. The most beautiful, gorgeous exercise. From there, we are going to move a little bit down into our shoulders. Someone's asking, does your chin go down and back or just straight back? Just straight back. So you want to keep, again, that normal posture where you have your shoulders here, your spine is aligned, so your chin is very neutral, basically 90 degrees to your body, and it's just going straight back. Let me know if that helps. Okay, awesome. So we're going to go into a shoulder roll or what's called a scapular setting. So you may have done a shoulder roll before. I love a shoulder roll. Feels really, really good. So if that's what you do in this section, great. That is perfect. Just rolling your shoulders back or rolling your shoulders forward. You can make it as big as you want. If you want a little bit more movement, or you can make it really small. You can do this anywhere. Scapular setting is just slightly more intention because instead of just going for the tops of our shoulders, we're actually thinking about moving our shoulder blades. The way we do this is you take your shoulders and you go forward, up, back, and down. And by the time you get to the down, you can feel potentially your shoulder blades coming back into alignment with the rest of your back muscles. This is a little bit trickier for me to show you without seeing you because it can be hard to feel your own shoulder blades. So again, if you're not feeling your shoulder blades, no problem. Go for the shoulder roll. Otherwise, think about setting your shoulder blades down by going forward, up, back, and down. And then you reverse, where you go back, up, forward, and down. So pretty simple there. Either moving back in a roll or a forward, up, back, and down. And then reverse, again, either shoulder roll just forward or back, up, forward, and down. This is a good time for me to say that we are creating a very detailed blog post with all of these exercises written out with visual cues. So if you're taking notes, A++ to you, but we've got you covered. So keep an eye on our site. That's going to be coming out for you soon. So all of this series will be there as a continuous resource. You can always go back and check how to do these stretches. Okay. So that is our third stretch. We only have 4 more. This is the 4th one. It's very simple, but I'm going to show you a couple different options. It's called Eagle Arms Pose. It's from the yoga practice. Very simple. And I'm going to start with the simplest modification. The simplest modification is essentially a hug to yourself. All you do is you cross one arm over the other, right? So elbows crossing here. Modification 1 is then to take your hands and wrap and give yourself a hug. We all need it sometimes. And I tend to feel this right here. I feel this stretch here because again, instead of keeping my shoulders up to my ears, keeping my shoulders down and I'm feeling it here. So if this is where you hang out today while we do eagle arms, perfect. And then you're going to switch. Other elbow on top for the hug. Now, for a more traditional pose, I'm going to do it slightly diagonal so you can see. We're going to again do the same thing, one elbow over the other, and we're going to go back of our hands together. What this does is it's stretching. Again, we set our shoulder blades in the past exercise, and now we're going to do a little stretch back there. Feels really good. But what's really important is to keep your shoulders back and down and to not, again, pull everything here. If you're pulling here because you're feeling too much tightness, just bring your shoulders down, maybe keep it here for today. From here, you can do one more wrap of the hands for the full eagle arms pose. It's not important. It's not important how much you wrap. It's not important how far you reach. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing this to bring relief to our body and self-love and compassion to ourselves. Let me know if that made sense and if you found a modification that worked for you. Again, we have here, or we keep our elbows here, we go in front, or we wrap. So this is eagle arms, really good for opening that chest. Again, we're going to go back through these in the series. So that's number 4, eagle arms or self-love hug. Really important. Okay, we are on to our 5th exercise. I love this one. It is a seated cat-cow pose. If you've ever done a yoga class, you've probably done cat-cow. Shout out if you've heard of cat-cow before or if cat-cow sounds new. All you have to do is, this is seated again, but you can do this on all fours, that's the traditional, on the floor, or even standing. But essentially, it's a nice chest opener. So what you're going to do for the cat position, I'm going to go ahead and turn to the side, is you breathe in and you arch your back and you look up. You breathe out and you round your back and look down. Breathing in and breathing out. This is a nice one for the person who is asking for low back. This can be even, you might even feel it more if you were on all fours going into something like a child's pose, but you can even feel it sitting down. And this can be great if you're sitting at your desk, if you're in an airplane seat or in the car, and you just need to bring a little love to your whole, feels like your whole body, but especially your low back. Breathe, the breath is key here. Really breathing deeply through your nose into your belly for the cat. And you can bring awareness to your low back and then breathe out. And round, 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 round. Breathing in and breathing out. Cat cow. Someone says that one feels really good. Yes, this is a classic for a reason. I couldn't leave it out of our first stretching workshop because especially once we've worked kind of this top area and so our body's a little warm, there are so many muscles that are awakened and just feel love. And you can play with this a little bit if you wanted to do some circles. Again, this is about you exploring what feels good for you. So working within your limits, being gentle with yourself. Feels good. Okay, our second to last stretch. I'm going to move this screen a little bit away from me so that you can see, because we're going to do a seated hip stretch. Oh, that may not have helped. Let me pull it down here. So I'm seated, just in a very normal chair. What I'm going to do is bring my ankle up to my opposite knee. This is it. I'm going to show you some modifications, what you can do here. But let me know if you're able to do this one where you are. This is a seated hip stretch. Our hips, like I said, do so much for us. So you might be here, right? You might be really feeling it here, or you might be able to press this down to feel it a little more here. It's going to depend on where you're at. And then from here, you can even lean forward with a straight spine, and then just reverse. Other ankle on top of your knee. Just like someone was saying earlier, I feel tighter on this side. I am right-handed and my right side does tend to be dominant. So it makes sense to me right now that I'm feeling a little bit more in my right hip. This one is more of a static stretch, where once we get here, we're finding what looks good. We breathe. Someone's asking, does my knee have to be parallel to the floor or can my hips be higher than my knee? They can absolutely be higher. So you see in my seated position right now, I'm essentially 90 degrees. It is perfectly fine and often feels much better to even sit higher, like I said, with your hips naturally being higher. But let's say you're at 90 degrees like I am. And when you put your hip up like this, you're like, okay, Rachel said to put my ankle on my knee. And then you're finding your hip is coming up. We do want our hip to stay seated. But if that means that our knee stays higher, that's fine. Because as long as you're feeling it and we're keeping correct posture here, correct posture being hips, both sit bones. You know what I mean when I say that? Nice buttocks, both sitting on the chair, neither one lifting. Because if it's lifting, what's happening is, again, we are compensating for tightness here and in our hips. So we don't need to compensate. So if our knee looks like this, but you're feeling it here, great. This is a good stretch. You could do it each day while you're watching TV, while you're sitting at your desk, and eventually you're going to get a little bit more length here. Let me know if that answers your question about your knee having to be parallel to the floor. So this definitely does not need to be parallel to the floor. If it is, great. That's just where your body is at. Okay, that did answer your question and it feels great. Woohoo! Like I said, if you need a little bit more, go ahead and keep your posture straight here. You can lean forward with a straight back and you're going to feel it. You're definitely going to feel it. Okay. Oh, I've scooted this forward too quickly. For our last stretch, I'm going to stay here because for our very last stretch, I wanted to finish it out in the bottom part of our body, give some love to our legs and feet who are holding us up all day, every day. So all we're going to do, I'm going to turn again so you can see. Ooh, let me turn this way. A leg extension, and we're going to point and flex our feet. Actually feels really, really good. But let me know in the chat if it does not feel good for you, and I'll make a modification. All you have to do, so we just did our hip stretch, felt good, yay, yay. We're just going to take our knee and we're going to stretch it out. If you want, you can absolutely hold your knee, or you can just use your strong quads. I want to show you my feet, I wonder. I have nice long legs, trying to get them in the frame. And then we're going to point. You're going to keep your legs straight, but I'm just too long for this Zoom. You're just going to point and flex your feet. So I'm going to pull this back here so you don't have to keep looking at my feet. So you're seated, or if you're standing, all you have to do is extend your leg. Point your foot, flex your foot. Are you breathing? Point your foot, flex your foot. Someone says quivering quads. Yeah, so it can actually be a nice exercise if you want to get a little bit of blood flowing here. But if you're like, I'm not trying to do that, please support your quad with your hands. That is going to help take the weight off. So work your quads or support your quads. Someone's saying, I'm really feeling it inside my leg more than exterior hip. And then, yeah, they're going through an injury. That is wonderful that you're noticing that in your own body. That's even something you could bring up if you're working with a physician. Like I was doing this stretch and I feel like maybe I'm out of breath from the leg extension. But if you're working with your physician, just bring it up and maybe they can give you some specific things too if you're working through an injury. So if you're feeling anything that feels like a sharp pain or it doesn't feel good, skip that stretch. If you need to skip it, let me know and I can give you another option. Let me take a sip of water here. Okay. That is all of the stretches. So now I'm going to show you how to put them together in a really easy 5-count series that you can do at your desk, at the airport, while you're watching TV, one of my favorite times to stretch. So we're going to go all the way back to the top of our body. We are going to look up and down 5 times, right and left 5 times, ear to shoulder 5 times. Let me know if you're ready in the chat. I'm going to give everyone a second to breathe, to grab a sip of water, and I want to get a couple I'm ready to go chats before we start, because I want this to really serve you and when you're in a brain space to do that. So let me just make sure everyone is good here. Okay, feeling good. We're ready. Amazing. Okay, awesome. So if you want, you could even play music for yourself while we're doing this. I don't want to send you to another tab, but that's one of my favorite ways to stretch, to do music. But we're just going to do the sound of our breath for my end. So we are seated. We have our correct posture where our shoulders are away from our ears. Our hips are level with our knees if we're seated, or even a little above. We're ready to go. We're going to look up, down 5 times. Ready? Now, again, while we do this, if you were doing this on your own, you could stop at any moment and breathe into anything that felt better. Now, right and left. Right? So if our friend who is feeling the tightness on the left side, maybe they pause on the left side and they do an extra breath. We're just going to go through this together to show you how quick and how easy it is to increase your circulation, to improve your range of motion, all that good stuff. Okay, from here we go into chin tucks or chin retractions, right? So we're just going to do 5. Straight back, thinking about our head, feeling so light on our body during the day. This one you can do 5 times an hour, right? Just reset that. We're going to either shoulder roll 5 times back, or slightly more intentional, the scapular setting, feeling those shoulder blades go down. 1 more forward. And then we're going to reverse. So either shoulder roll forward, 1, 2, or broke it up a little bit for scapular setting, up, forward, down. And 1 more, back, up, forward, down. Okay, from here, let me make sure. We're going to do our eagle arms. So that is, for this, we're just going to breathe for 5 counts. So if you're here, just do 5 in and out breaths. Here, 5 in and out breaths, or here. This one, again, we are keeping our shoulders away from our ears. We're breathing. And maybe we're trying each of those postures to see what feels best. Once we've done our 5 breaths, we reverse. First breath in. Here we go. Keep holding that. I'm just going to do this here. Okay, great. Okay, so 5 breaths into our classic cat-cow. We're just going to do 5. So that includes 1. That's 1. Breathing in, breathing out. That's 2, 3. Really feeling your spine arch completely. And arch completely. Okay, from that, we are going straight into our seated hip stretch. So we are putting our ankle on top of our knee. If you've got any injuries, be very gentle with yourself, and we're just going to breathe. Inhale, exhale. We're going to do 5 breaths on each side. Again, you can lean forward if you need a little bit more of a stretch. You can even roll your foot. Let me show you here. If you're breathing and feeling a little bored, that's fine. Just roll your ankle each way. That can be a really lovely way to add a little movement. And then we're going to switch. Other ankle on top of other knee. Breathing in, really listening to our hips. They're a really important joint. They do a lot for us. So maybe we're rolling our ankle one way and then another. Someone likes the ankle roll, me too. I think this is really helpful when we're doing a static stretch, is to have a little something, maybe to add a little movement. That helps my brain. We're going into our final stretch. Leg extension for our quads. Let me pull this down here. We then extend, really simple. There's no height you have to get to. And we're just going to do 5 points of our foot and flex. And point and flex. 3 more. Point and flex. This feels good on my calf. Point and flex. Other side. You're going to just extend your other leg, supporting with your hand or not. Point and flex. Breathing. Point, flex. 1 more for good measure. Point, flex. And you're done. It is that simple to do those exercises that you can do individually, but together, I feel the blood moving in my body. I feel the movement, even though this is a very gentle series. As you can tell, for each stretch, you can decide the level you want to push it. Do you want to get the blood moving by holding your quad? Do you want to go further with the, leaning forward? Or do you want to just really sink into where you are with the breath? Whew, okay. I need from everyone 1 word of how you're feeling after that series, or your thought on the series, because I can't see you. And as a dancer, I love being in the studio with people. So I just love you guys showing up for yourselves and for me in the chat. Okay, I'm hearing people feel wonderful and refreshed. I definitely feel refreshed. I feel a mental clarity after stretching and after a little movement. And that can be so helpful like that afternoon slump, if you ever get that after lunch, even a quick stretch series like this can bring some mental clarity that can be really helpful. And calmer, yeah. A lot of times, so a couple people were mentioned feeling erratic or scattered. We are energetic beings. We have energy in our body, and this is coming from someone with a history of chronic fatigue. And I'm very conscious of my energy, sometimes lack thereof, sometimes scattered energy, and bringing some cohesive movement to the body with our breath is such a grounding, calming thing to do for yourself. So this is just a reminder to me of like, oh yeah, it doesn't have to be an hour in the gym, an hour in the dance studio. It could be literally 5 minutes, like one song, doing that series that will give you mental clarity, refreshment, calm, feeling grounded. Such a gift to yourself. And then we got someone saying, ready for your next hour of meetings? Yes. Power through those, not power through those hour of meetings, breathe through the hour of meetings. And if you want, you could just do some secret stretching, just some leg extensions with some points. You could do the hip one, rolling your ankle. All of that is great. There's a lot of research behind small, consistent movements over compact amounts of movements, like an hour of working out in the morning and then being stuck all day and feeling stagnant. Just a little bit of movement throughout the day can be really powerful. Okay, I'm so thankful that you guys went through that series with me. Do we have any final questions? It could be about this series. It could be about another area of your body that might need a little bit of love. Maybe you'd like a stretch there, or you'd like to see more of these stretching workshops going over different areas of the body. Let me know what would serve you, because at Flowly, we are so excited to be able to show up for our community in these ways that are accessible, completely free. That's so important to me. Able to be hopefully consistent and have these immediate action steps that right when you go to the workshop, you're like, I can do this. And like I said, we have this detailed blog post coming out for you. So it will be complete written instructions with visuals. So that's coming. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad it was helpful. Someone is saying maybe some wrists. So maybe we could do one that's focused a little bit more on the hands, wrists, maybe even some. This got my brain. I'm brainstorming already, but I feel that a lot with the wrists, especially if you are active, like if you have a yoga practice, if you are working out. Sometimes places like the wrists, the ankles, our joints, they don't get as much love. Someone's saying my whole body feels relaxed and definitely less tense. Yeah. And you guys spent a lot of time with me this morning, and I'm really thankful as we went over this, but I hope that you saw when we did the series together how short it can truly be. Okay, so what I'd like to offer for you is that our support for you is not over at the end of this webinar. Please send us an email if you have any questions or any other suggestions at contact@flowly.world. And like I said, my name is Rachel. I'm the health coach here. If you are a Flowly hero and you are a part of our community, I offer complimentary health coaching consultations. So if you want to connect further about your health goals, I'd love to connect with you individually. Thank you so much, everyone. Truly, I love doing this. Maybe one day we'll get to do something like this in person, because I wish I could see everyone, but I really appreciate you showing up in the chat and being here today. Everyone will receive a recording of this webinar as well as the blog that's coming out soon. So any way we can show up for you, we'd like to. So whatever helps you, just let us know. Otherwise, I'm going to make sure that you can go into the rest of your day, hopefully feeling refreshed and maybe just a little bit better than you did when you came in this morning. Okay. I do love my job. I try to like tone it down. Someone is being very lovely in the chat saying that I clearly love this, and I do. And I try to keep it cool and chill for everyone, but I'm very, very passionate about this. So I'm glad that that's evident. Okay, everyone. We will see you at the next workshop. We will see you in the Flowly community. We're there every day because, again, we're all in this journey together. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Bye.